And I kind of really dig that now, but it threw me off in the early days because I just kind of was like, why are people in shorts at a gala? I mean, not a ton of people, but there are always a handful, right?
Oh
Always.
my
And
God.
one thing, my husband is he is an airline executive. We are always at these fancy things, and it really took the pressure off of me to be able to know someone's going to be there in shorts. So it really doesn't matter what I wear, because at the end of the day, I think for women especially, like, I mean, a dude, I'll ask Andrew, what are you wearing to this thing? And he'll go, a button down shirt and pants. And I'm like, yeah, because you're a dude. What else are you going to wear? Halter top and a tube skirt? Of course you're
Depends
going
on
to
the
wear a
party.
button down shirt and pants. But for women, they're given an instruction like smart casual at some of these things. Well, what is that? Like, what does that mean? So I do love that vibe about Seattle, is that you're always going to find someone in shorts. So you're probably okay.
Welcome to Beats Working, Winning the Game of Events, where we share stories and strategies to turn any event or life moment into something unforgettable.
Events are wild, and the people who work in them are some of the most resilient humans on earth. If you know, you know.
So come with us behind the curtain for a look at their most memorable experiences.
As they say, the show must go on. So let's get on with the show.
Wigs, wine, and Wonder Woman costumes. This episode dives headfirst into the glitter-covered glory and chaos of theme parties. Do you love them? Do you hate them? For the next level creativity to cringe-worthy execution, the Fun Table crew tackles the question, are themed events a delight or a disaster waiting to happen? Whether you're a fan of full-on costume commitment, or prefer subtle vibes and strong cocktails, this chat explores the highs, the lows, and hilarious in-betweens of going themed. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am excited to introduce everybody at the Fun Table, but of course, I'll start first with my sidekick and work wife for life and co-host, Libby Sundgren.
Libby Sundgren, Beats Working Events co-host, lifelong event planner, Christmas party hoster, and up until COVID, theme party costume hoarder. So that's my bio.
I'm
for today.
into it. I'm into
Sarah?
it.
Well, mine's kind of messy. I started a nonprofit music festival and street fair in my late 20s in the 90s. That was my first event experience. And it was, I kind of just took on something too big for me and learned a lot of things the hard way. And the next thing on my bio is I was a board member of Providence O Christmas Trees. And their fundraising is a 3-day extravaganza that revolves all around Christmas trees the day after Thanksgiving, and talk about theme. And then during hosting smaller parties and events. And I work for a farrier company with my husband, and we just recently launched a new company called Noble Media and Events. And those events are actually not the fun, exciting theme party kind of thing we're talking about here, but they're really largely for facilitating conferences and clinics for people in the horse industry. So I will be doing a lot of that.
I love it. Who's next to you? Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Liz Harrison, and kind of my whole life has sort of been an event. I've got 8 kids, and so going to the doctor's office kind of becomes an event. And also, I spent a decade as the PTA president, lots of events there. And I too, Libby, have a costume closet, and I'm definitely a hoarder. So there it is. Hashtag, we are one. I mean, we're not, but yeah.
Birds of a feather.
Stick together.
Kristen, I see the glimmer of your crown.
Oh, is it noticeable? Hold on, I'm parched. Oh, so hi.
The accessories.
It's this is my everyday. Blingy blingy. So I am Kristen Graham. I spent over 20 years in corporate America doing lots of events around the world. It's not an event if the technology doesn't work in Korea. And also, like Amy said, have done a lot of the PTAs and philanthropies. I was on nonprofit boards. I'm a mama, but I don't have closets that I hoard. I go over to Alysse's house and I just borrow stuff from her because
smart.
I have been surrounded by brothers and sons. So I have to go to these people here to even know what girl looks like.
And Deli, queen of monogramming, what about you?
If it's not moving, you do need to monogram it. I'm Deli Downs Cooley, and I guide high performers to own their voice, share their stories, and build powerful personal brands that inspire change and foster meaningful connections. Events are just a small part of the work that I do, and this is where the stories come alive. The ideas are amplified and meaningful connections are made. And isn't that why we're all here today?
It is. But as I look around this room, I have been going to events with all of you for a very long time. A very long time. Libby, probably the longest. But like, we have all been each other's plus one, sidecars, partners in crime for more events than I can count. So many events. Sarah, all of a sudden I'm thinking of the time we went to the opera together and we left and we were so confused at the ending, only to find out after we left that it wasn't actually over and we left too soon.
A little backstory is that I had an online magazine and we were critiquing Seattle arts events. And I had been a couple of years into really being disappointed at the Seattle Opera. You know, we have a world-class symphony, and I just was like, ugh, with the opera and the tweaks that they make and the rearranging of the story. And I never feel like it's helping anything. Sometimes I feel like they miss the point of what we're there to actually experience with that story. And so this is in the back of my head. And Alysse says, I've never been to the opera. And I'm like, I'm going to take you. And my husband was like, I bought you tickets to see. What did we see? I already forgot.
I don't know. It was like main one, though.
Clearly, y'all are not
One of
going
those
to the
main
same operas
operas.
that I'm going to, because I was like, this guy had to have been on drugs when he wrote this opera, because it was incredible. It was amazing. And I was like, I don't even know what's happening here, but I'm in.
Oh, it was Carmen.
Yeah, Carmen, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're sitting in the audience and I'm watching it. And, you know, I hadn't visited the story in a long time, but I'm getting really annoyed because it's coming to an end. And I'm thinking, really, Seattle Opera, there you go again. Messing up. Like, this isn't right. I'm like, okay, let's go. But I didn't want to like be an asshole with Alysse and like make her feel bad about her first experience. So this is all in my head. We get up to leave because I'm thinking, let's not get caught up in the rush and, you know, let's get to the car and all this.
Well, we really just wanted to beeline over to Dick's for a cheeseburger,
That's
if I
true.
remember correctly.
We did have that.
Because
We did-
everyone needs to go to Dick's in an evening gown. Like
That
that's
is
just
the
like,
mark of
that's
the
what you
true
do.
After
mark of
parties.
success is when you
I-
can go to Dick's Burgers afterward.
We get out in the hall and the attendant was like, don't you want to see the end? And at that moment, I realized that, yeah, I misdiagnosed the situation.
You were mad though. I remember you were like, ah,
Because they won't let you go back into the opera once you've left, right? Because they don't want you messing up.
I don't
No
know. I
opera-
think we
that's
might have
what I
been too
learned.
embarrassed.
They were going to let
Oh,
us
but
in,
maybe it's
but
because
we
I was
just
drunk.
didn't want to climb over people, I guess.
She can't come back in.
She's falling down.
Get her
I
out.
mean, you got kicked out for other reasons. Yeah.
There's photos of
did.
Amy. Do not
Yeah.
let in.
But
I've
we
been to the
did go
opera
to
in a
Dick's.
while.
We did, I think we made a splash.
We did.
We got noticed. We got compliments.
You looked like
Definitely.
you had just come from a theme party when you showed up at Dick's late
Way
night
to
in
bring
your
it
evening
back.
gowns.
Full circle, Libby. Way to bring it back
Well
in.
done.
So
Tying it back
You're
together.
so smart.
theme parties, love
Mm.
them or hate them. I mean, everyone here is in costume, so but I don't want to
I
assume.
love a good theme party. Hello.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
mean, I'm all about alliteration, so I make themes up every day. Like I will
That's a
just
true
make
story.
up a theme for the day. Taco Tuesday, Moscato
didn't make that one up, sweetie.
Mondays. There's birthdays.
Deli, I hate to tell you, you didn't crack
I
that
mean,
one.
I'm there
But
for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
But
no,
you support it.
I didn't say that I'm making up new ones. I just love a good theme for my day. So, hello,
Mhm. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Finger Food Fridays. That one I made up on my own.
I like that one.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
What is the most creative or unexpected theme you've ever seen? Amy.
The Tony Extravaganza theme party.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And so you rolled up and the person had Tony's van in the driveway, like that blue kind of matte primer job on the van. And then you went inside and like you were instructed ahead of time either to be Angela or Tony or Samantha or Jonathan or Mona. And they had games basically where you had to do skits so they'd take a Mona and they would take a Tony, and then other people, this is the last thing I'll say about it, and I'll let somebody else have the floor, but they had Tony dressed up in all different versions of himself. So there was the baseball player Tony. If you haven't seen Who's the
I'm
Boss,
clearly
this
not
is gonna
hanging
be
out with the
fun.
right people.
Seriously.
But I know. And then there was Tony in the apron. I mean, the whole thing. And that to me set the standard for a theme party. I was like, okay, I've seen it all now. It was amazing.
Sounds amazing.
And no, it wasn't me who threw it. I
You never
was
go back.
I don't
I
think I
know.
can top that.
When you've been extravaganza, I mean,
Right?
how do you go back to a regular party?
Oh my gosh, I
never
just
know.
got it. Okay.
Oh, you're so
So
pretty.
I'm the
though.
last one invited. Yeah.
Here's the thing I think about a theme party, though. Like, let's be clear. Obviously, we all love them, but a lot of people don't. And a lot of people don't have the costume closet that maybe some of us have. So I do think when you're thinking about a theme party, you need to come at it from the perspective of making it generic enough that anyone can participate. And that sometimes means having some props at the party. So if somebody shows up not in anything, they can just throw on something that, some kind of prop to make them feel a part of, because you don't want people not feeling like they get to be part of the event and part of the celebration. Kristen?
I completely agree. I want to plus one with you on that. Having done corporate events for a long time where inclusivity is part of it, which we could talk about vegan muffins at another point. But I think it's really important to do the communication before the event too, to say there's opt-out options, because people will just opt themselves out if they're feeling introverted or excluded or compromised anyway, like financially or not having somebody to go with. And so saying no plus ones required. And I even like what you just said, having things there on hand. I did an event one time where we had a sash that just said, "This is my outfit." And so we just kind of handed that out for folks. So everybody has a place. And also think about whether there's a role you can have for the people who aren't dressed up. Maybe they're the judges for something, and then they feel included in the event without having to have been dressed to the nines. So I really loved your point.
That's a really good way to balance creativity and inclusivity in an event. I love that.
Good idea.
Do you think, well, I mean, we think they create a better guest experience, but I guess they probably for some people create a lot of unnecessary stress.
I think that's a really fair point though, Libby, honestly, that I think it's worth saying that it can bring up stress or anxiety.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's worth
I
saying.
do love a good theme. I also love letting people be who they are. And sometimes that means they don't show up in costume. Like, I am a fancy girl. I love to get fancy. I absolutely, like, you give me a reason and it could be Tuesday is the reason. And I'm getting fancy. My husband, blue. That's all he's got. He's like blue. And
That's his color.
if I am going to a football game, my college alma mater is purple. So like there's a splash of purple in his closet. But that's it. Like he's not trying to play in my reindeer games. And so I have accepted that just because I want to be fancy, I'll have a theme for everything. Not everybody is going to participate in my reindeer games, and I'm okay with that. Like, I would much prefer that you opt in as you are than not come at all. So I like to, and I think when I have an event, Kristen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but typically when I send out an invite, I will give you the theme, like it's a cookie party, it's whatever, and I will have the socks on hand and aprons because I love the themes and the excuse to be fancy. I will also, I think somewhere there's a disclaimer typically in my events that says come as you are. Come and go as you please, come as you are, because I'd much rather you come when it's right for you, come as you are. Because if I had a theme and you could only be there based on the theme, my husband would never be participating in anything. Or we plan around my husband and his blue. Like our entire family, we're like, can we come up with a different Christmas party pajama theme or family photos? And everyone else will be wearing something that matches and he will be wearing blue.
Well, he knows his color.
It's the colors.
He's on brand.
Mm-hmm.
He's on
And
brand.
I think that's a really good way to remove any kind of stress people feel about having to be on theme and be, have an entire disco outfit instead of just like, a sparkly bracelet or like a Mardi Gras bead necklace or something, which we do always have at our parties. I make sure I have some flair that people can put on if they want to.
Everybody loves a little flair.
One of the things I also want to point out is that the pre-communication, again, is so important, especially for people who are neurodiverse or introverted. And one of the things I really like about the events I've gone to with Alysse and Libby is there's always an FAQ.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you think you know something, being able to say like, and then here's where parking is, or here's what this means, anticipating questions in advance, I think helps people feel comfortable before they even walk in the door. Even if you think everything's clear, that's only coming from our heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to jump off of that. I want to plus one on you now, Kristen. It's actually, a lot of people are really good at providing those details. Unfortunately, there are people like me that skim over the details, and that can sometimes end up being embarrassing. Sorry, Sarah, that you're getting dragged into all of my embarrassing stories, but I guess I have the most embarrassing time with you in tow. But we once went to what I thought was going to be a 90s party. And I think when it was originally presented, it was a 90s party. I was so excited. I was dressed like Run DMC. Sarah was wearing the choker necklace and like she just looked very Seattle 90s. And then we got there and it was an early 2000s party and we did not fit in.
That's not cool.
No.
One thing I want to say on that though, because of those of us who are skimmers, not just doing the pre-communication, oh my gosh, could I be a broken record? Send everything out the day of. I am the person that's always going to go back and search and be like, where is it? What is it? And texting people, what time does it start? So even like down to 2 hours before, because somebody out there like me is like, I don't know where I put that.
So I love that. And I am a day of person also. I like to see everything day of. And I have to say, I wanted to loop back to when Alysse was talking about Sarah being dressed up in sort of Seattle grunge or with the choker necklace. And I think Seattle is so interesting because those of us who aren't really from here originally had a learning curve when we got here. At least I did, where it was like people will show up in whatever they want.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And I kind of
Good
really
transition.
dig that now, but it threw me off in the early days because I just kind of was like, why are people in shorts at a gala? I mean, not a ton of people, but there are always a handful, right?
Always.
my
And
God.
one thing, my husband is he is an airline executive. We are always at these fancy things, and it really took the pressure off of me to be able to know someone's going to be there in shorts. So it really doesn't matter what I wear, because at the end of the day, I think for women especially, like, I mean, a dude, I'll ask Andrew, what are you wearing to this thing? And he'll go, a button-down shirt and pants. And I'm like, yeah, because you're a dude. What else are you going to wear? Halter top and a tube skirt?
Depends on the party.
Shirt and pants. But for women, they're given an instruction like smart casual at some of these things. Well, what is that? Like, what does that mean? So I do love that vibe about Seattle. is that you're always going to find someone in shorts. So you're probably okay.
I love that so much because Amy, I moved here 11 years ago and I have a military background. So we're all about the uniform of the day and costume changes throughout the day based on the event. And I got here and went to a wine tasting with a friend of mine who said, oh yeah, it's business casual. So I show up with a cardigan and pearls and ballet flats, and everyone is there in jeans and sweaters. And I was like, I feel so out of place right now. It didn't stop me from having fun. And what I love about this group is because I've gone to events with most of you, I know that Kristen will tell me if I show up at her house, oh, there was a change of plans, or like the two comms people over here, Amy and Kristen, like I'm channeling my inner Martin Solveig right now with the plus ones. Having that person that comes with you, I'm like, ooh, baby, can I be your plus one? Totally taking us off vibe here, but like, that's the thing, is having the right plus ones that either you all show up in the wrong outfit together and it's fine, or you have someone that did read the instructions or read the 2 hours before, so that you at least know when you walk in that you're like, I will not be on vibe here, but my vibe is good, so it's okay.
Well, and let's just agree that confidence is the best theme of all.
Right.
If you want to walk in and everybody else is dressed up and you're just like, you're welcome, I'm wearing a Nirvana shirt. Like,
Snaps to that, Kristen.
I'm here and you're welcome.
I don't know that I had the confidence to rock a pair of shorts and Birkenstocks, but I do applaud anyone who does have the confidence to be wearing that at the wedding reception. Like, I got offered a job by a dude that was wearing Birkenstocks, a holy t-shirt and shorts.
Were there stocks with the Birkenstocks?
Oh, it was a wedding.
Sandals.
I love that.
But I mean, let's also talk about the .com scene, where I went from Chicago buttoned up, still wearing my pantyhose sometimes, to coming in hot to the .com world. And I'm like, y'all wore that to work, not just to take out the garbage. Okay, that's cool. And yeah, so letting everybody have their own level of comfort, I think we're all in violent agreement on.
So one of the fleeting thoughts I had while you guys were expounding on the comfort of living up to a theme, I had been going to theme parties in my early party days in Seattle when I first moved here. And I was also a fashion stylist. So I was having this experience of dressing people who are in tech, who are high level. So they were going out of their comfort zone. Like, oh, I wear pajamas to work, but I don't know how to dress when I go to this country or this place. And so I kind of became the right hand for a few people, where I was making sure that they walked into rooms appropriately. And with great success, I was getting a lot of good feedback. Like, oh, I went to this thing and everybody knew what I was wearing and complimented me, and they like have no idea. Like, I don't know, but so that was cool. And then I would go to theme parties and have the experience you guys are talking about, where, you know, I'm bringing it because I'm a stylist and I need to represent and I need to hold this up. And then walking in the room and going, oh, interesting. But I thought it didn't make me feel like I wasn't uncomfortable with my level. I was just feeling like, what is going on? And during that time, a new person came to town, like a socialite who had this amazing, beautiful apartment in Bellevue, like kind of penthousey and really gorgeous. And she just moved in with her family and she really wanted to throw a party. And her invitations were just, I mean, it was like very New York-y feeling and just beautiful. And her theme was polka dots and stripes. And it was one of the most, like, you know, when something just lands and you're like, oh, thank God. I just felt like
This theme speaks to me.
Yeah. It was pressure. And I thought, who is this woman and how do I make her my best friend? And I went and I got my polka dots and stripes outfit. No pressure. It was just easy. And it was easy to dress my husband and he was into it. And he's like very busy. And so taking the time to sort this out is a lot for him. So I kind of had this mentality of, oh, I'll have to do all the work. But he actually was so simple and he thought it was fun that he was a lot more engaged in the process. And when we got there, it was so incredibly fun to see all of the different ways that polka dots and stripes showed up. And some of it was very subtle and very elegant. And some of it was over the top and costumey. And it just worked. And I thought, okay, this is a whole nother way to think about a theme.
Mhm.
And the other thing to add to that I've also had hit me the same way for different reasons. And that's when the theme is around something so singular. Like back in college, someone threw a party and it was John Wayne. That was it. It was just John Wayne. And I thought, well, what do I do with that? So I don't know why, but that's just like, I liked it. And I also went to a Sharpies, mustache, and wife beaters. And that also was a lot less stressful to me than parties that had like a really dialed in theme.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but breaking things up to like a singular individual or ideas that are just kind of like adjectives or I don't know. I really like that, and I like it more than I like the traditional themes.
The very specific ones.
Yeah. And I didn't know
Well,
that.
And when we were at that early 2000s party, like how many Britneys were there? Like all the Britneys were there,
Oh,
which was
yeah.
really cool to see all the different Britneys.
Yeah.
Okay, I know
Yeah.
I gotta like make sure we stay on time, because if we don't, we could make this a 3-hour episode, which I don't know that our audience would love. Maybe they would. I don't know. Before we get to dream party, so start thinking about if you could have any dream theme party, what would it be? I would like to first rabbit hole us on a trend I've seen on the TikTok and the gram.
Okay.
And that's where
you're keeping us on track, but you're rabbit holing. At least you're.
but it's good. Just stay with
Okay.
me. Just stay
Okay.
with me.
She's claiming the rabbit hole.
I'm claiming the rabbit hole, and you don't have to dress like a rabbit for this conversation. Plus, I'm really fond of rabbits since I have 6 in my front
Okay,
yard.
now you're doing
now,
the thing that Libby
I
said.
know.
you're doing.
Sorry.
Mhm,
Okay, sorry.
mhm.
So that thing where women are traveling together, or a group of people are traveling together, and they swap names beforehand, and they buy each other either a really terrible T-shirt or a really terrible phone cover. I am here for that. Like I am 100% here for that trend. We need to go somewhere so we can do it.
episode. We're gonna swap names and do terrible T-shirts or phone covers.
Well, why can't we all just be Britneys? And then we all have the same shirt.
I'm a
See what I did?
slave for you.
Okay. That was good, Deli. That was
All right.
good.
Well, anyway, I'm done with my rabbit hole. Back to the dream theme party. I'll go first. I am a Kardashian watcher. Judge if you want. I've never missed an episode. Now, I've never watched an episode more than once, but I've never missed an episode. And in the current season that's currently airing on Hulu, Khloe Kardashian had her 40th birthday party, and it was Chloe Wood in the theme of Dollywood. And I thought I was going to lose my mind because it was theme park and denim and rhinestones. Literally thought I was going to lose my mind. It was like, I would do anything for that dream theme party.
Yes.
So there's mine.
Okay.
Libby,
That's
what's
You
your
are
dream
having
theme.
a big birthday this year. I'm just saying.
I am, but I'm already going Golden Girls theme.
I love
Oh,
that.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Who else has a dream theme they want to share? Kristen.
The Matrix.
Oh,
I want
that's
curtains.
interesting.
I want curtains with 1s and 0s coming down it. I want everybody in
The
leather.
Smiths.
All the things, glasses, but when you arrive, you get a card that says whether you're an agent.
Mm.
Oh, and then there's things and there's
Oh.
things and there's.
I love it.
Let's make it happen.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
I
I'm
like it.
coming
I'm
to
in.
that party.
Leather Jasper. Yeah.
Amy,
Did
what's
you
your
just
dream
tell
party?
us your party?
Me or Kristen?
I'm all
Amy.
in for the Matrix, but Amy,
What's your dream party, Amy?
I'm stuck between a couple. So obviously the Golden Girls party that we're going to have for Alysse's big 5-0 is hot on my list. I already have all of my caftans laid out. But also,
That was plural.
yeah.
It's a long
Also, I
cruise,
think
so,
you
yeah.
guys have gone and taken this to the Tony Extravaganza level, which I have mad respect for. I didn't quite go that far when I saw the question. I thought to myself, I'm obsessed with the 80s. I'm stuck in the 80s. I would love an 80s party that has great food. So, of course, the outfits, the music, that's all easy, low hanging fruit for the 80s. But when you get to the food part, it leaves a little challenge for me usually, because once I get beyond Crystal Pepsi, which they don't make anymore, I'm here to tell you, I've tried to find it, tater tots and pop rocks, then it's kind of like, now what? I mean, what do I actually
Domino's.
serve for food?
Domino's,
Yeah.
cheese
It's
puffs.
what I always
Sbarro.
come back to is Domino's, usually sausage pizza from Domino's, but it's either
Sbarro.
that or like hamburger
Right.
helper or
Capri
tuna
Sun.
casserole,
Oh
and
my
none
God.
of that is really a party pleaser type food. So I would like to go to an 80s party and have someone bring back some really good 80s dishes
Like
that I had
gourmet
forgotten
twin
about.
peas is what you're saying.
And
TV
casserole.
dinners.
Pizza rolls.
See,
I
now
do
we're going
love-
on
I'm
a
thinking
plan here.
I
Jello
do love
molds.
pizza rolls.
I think Jello molds.
I think that might have been, was that 70s though?
See,
like with the
I
suspended
I agree.
marshmallow.
Both.
I can't
It was
tell you
both.
when that era was because my grandmother made a lot of Jello with vegetables in it, and I was there for it. I'll still eat Jello with carrots and pineapple.
Oh, honey.
That might
Mm.
also be a Southern thing.
Is
but-
pineapple a veg?
I don't know what decade that was.
Carrots?
Like, where
70s.
did the Jello with the fruits and vegetables even come from? That might have been
Sarah,
a
what's your dream
50s
theme?
I ate a lot of pasta in the 80s.
Pasta,
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
spaghettios.
Pasta was in the 80s. That was gourmet. Like fettuccine Alfredo. If you were going to someone's house and you got fettuccine Alfredo, you were eating.
Oh my gosh. Just get
That's
it catered
true.
by Olive Garden. Boom, done.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Olive Garden will get you there. That
Or the
was
Sizzler.
Sizzler.
Mm,
Y'all were
love
fancy.
the
I was
Sizzler.
rap in the 80s. Yeah, go on.
Golden Corral.
Love it.
Fancy.
Oh.
Also fancy.
How much is too much when it comes to committing to a theme?
as the party goer or as the event planner.
Either one.
Can you really have too much though? Because
Yes,
like,
you can.
my
Okay.
ideal party is like breakfast at Tiffany's type vibe. Like, I love, like I said, I'm a fancy girl, so I love something fancy. We just had a baby shower for my nephew. That may have been a little over the top. We turned the dessert table into the 100-acre wood.
Yeah.
Aw.
Like, we
For the babies.
actually ordered a box of moss and put it on the table as the floor of the 100-acre wood, and had slices of trees to put the cakes on, and like little honey pot cake pops with bees everywhere. We had solar powered butterflies that were flying around the flowers on the table of the 100-acre wood. And then we had Winnie the Pooh, the actual 100-acre wood story, playing on a television behind the dessert table. I don't know. Like,
I think she just answered that question.
Yeah,
I don't
she
think
just
that you
answered
can. Like, really, can you be too much? I don't know. Am I extra or are you just basic?
Yes.
Well, no. I think that that's delightful as a guest to truly delight in all those little things. As the party thrower or the event team trying to answer it logistically, it's when the cost outweighs the creativity. I think you can really, and especially if we get into talking about for causes or fundraising, that it can become, at least I remember how much did you go in for on a cubicle decorating contest one year?
Oh man, don't get me started. When I was at King 5, we would decorate our cubicles at the holiday time, and it became a competition. And it every year it just got crazier and crazier, and we started like building infrastructures. Like, one pod brought in beauty bark and filled their entire area with beauty bark, and then
That
brought
would've
in
been Deli.
Christmas trees to make it look like a Christmas tree farm. Like, it
Mhm.
just, we made a drive-through Starbucks, and it was
Bringing
really
Christmas
it was a
with the
lot.
Cranks vibes.
It was a
That's
lot.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah, people can overdo it.
One of the things that I can't stand, and it viscerally upsets me to my core, and it's when I go to a party and I become very aware of like so much stuff that feels wasteful. like when there's gilding the lily, but with crap. And I hate that feeling. I would rather go to something that's elegant and simple, where the money that's put into it is impactful, as opposed to lots of stuff, lots of junk, and it's like doubling down on the theme to the point where it's like, okay, I get it.
I'm with you on that, Sarah. That's like the keep it simple. And
Yeah,
But
I
keep it
hate
classy.
giving swag that people won't use. So
a little bit of that I can totally handle, but when it gets to be like this and this and this, and it's like, you had me with the first thing. We didn't need to have 25.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I go to Deli's house just for the swag. I bring like a reusable shopping bag and I sit there by the door when people aren't looking. I put in more like reindeer socks. So it's kind of what's your brand. Oh, she didn't know that, but she does now. So she's like, why did all
that's
the
what they're
socks go
there
away?
for. Like, I don't want it to still be there when everything's said and done. I do, like, Alysse, you asked me about monograms. You were both at my wedding, Kristen and Alysse. Everyone got a monogrammed champagne flute and a monogrammed coffee cup, and then a hangover recovery kit with Tylenol, a different kind of an ibuprofen, a granola bar, a bottle of water. So, like, when I do the swag, I don't want it to be something that someone's going to throw away, because I don't like to buy things for people that they're going to throw away. So I'm with you, Sarah, on the waste, like something that you'll take with you that you'll actually enjoy.
And when you get good swag, when it's really thoughtful and it really hits the spot, I don't know, it's amazing. I feel it in my heart. And then
Sarah,
I'm yours for life.
I love that you said that, because switching tactics a little bit, at a funeral I was at, they gave out flower seeds with the handouts. And I went and I'm not a gardener, but I sprinkled them around, and it just became something that was, I like how you said that, really it hits you in the heart, and it's clever, and you feel like you're taking something away, but it wasn't just a tchotchke. So there can be really deep meaning even with fun themes or things that seem light. And I think that's where creativity comes in. Back to Alysse's question, when creativity comes into it more than cost and stress. And I think the short answer to Alysse's question is, when is it too much? It's when it stops being fun.
Yes.
When it's a stressful thing to throw the party. And we've all been on the other end of that too.
Or like, no one should be going in debt over a party. Like, that's not smart. So it is about having fun and being smart and being sustainable.
And I love that you're bringing that up, because we're coming from a little bit of a place of privilege. Like, we all have been to the corporate parties where extravagance is kind of a thing. I remember when I moved here from Germany, I was a single mom with 3 kids and didn't have a lot. And I still love to have a good party. So I think there's something to be said about you can keep it really simple and have a lovely atmosphere when you're really focused on the details, the guests, the conversation, those sorts of things. So you can still have a really good theme party. Like I said, first Fridays were a thing for me, where it was just the first Friday of the month. Everybody come to my house, throw your kids in the backyard. We'll have beverages, we'll have bites. And I think those were some of my favorites. In the military, we called them Friday afternoon wine drinking and cheese eating, a fadesi.
Okay. Because an acronym has to go with that party.
Yes.
Yeah, it's required.
And I think, the queen of events, Martha Stewart, if anyone's watched her documentary, like, she set everything up so that it was scalable, that everybody could be hosting something significant, regardless of what they had or didn't have, or what their budget limitations were. Sarah, you and I talked about that recently after watching the documentary, I believe.
Well, all hail Martha Stewart and all hail theme parties. And if you ever are invited to a theme party and you need some tips, or if you want to dig in our costume closets, you can just email us.
Well, you're +6
Yeah, we're on it.
+6. That's cute.
for the fun table.
The fun table. Okay, that's a wrap for this episode of Beats Working, the fun table. If you've got an idea or want to reach out, email us at info@beatsworking.show. Remember, every detail matters, every moment counts, and no matter what, the show must go on.
Thanks for listening to Beats Working, Winning the Game of Events, where we explore what it takes to make moments unforgettable.
If you're leaving with a little more inspiration, a little more perspective, and a big side ache from all of the laughing at our funny jokes, then we've done our job.
Beats Working is a Work P2P production. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platforms.
Your support helps us keep the magic going.